Right, hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream. Today's live stream I will be talking about the 2-0 win over Peterborough. I will also be talking about the results that happened across game week 2 of League One and also building up to the game on Tuesday, because if you didn't know, we do have a game on Tuesday in the Cup. We are playing Coventry away. I'm not actually going to that one, so I will be watching that from home. I kind of wanted a little break from Coventry, I have to be honest with you. The amount of times we have played them over the last 10 years, I just want, just a couple seasons, let's just not play Coventry, And if we are going to play them, I'd rather we be the home side, not the away side, because it's an awful place to go in terms of being an away fan. Parking's a nightmare. It's in the middle of pretty much nowhere. So yeah, I don't really like going to Coventry. I've been there too many times. I've seen us win, lose and draw. And after what happened last season with us being 2-0 up at half time to then lose the game 3-2, yeah, I don't really want to go back anytime soon. But anyway, let's talk about this game against Peterborough. So first half, as we know, not so great. Pretty similar to what we witnessed against AFC Wimbledon. But then in the second half, we came out on top. And it was so much better in the second half, I read a few comments online on social media about, the system's not working, the 5 at the back's not working. The second half proved that the 5 at the back can work when you actually do your job correctly as a player. If you take responsibility on how you perform on the pitch, that's how the 5 at the back system works. We managed to keep the Peterborough players in their own half. We managed to get the ball out wide. We were moving the ball quickly. There was some urgency about us. The movement was there. The quality was on show. In fact, actually, the quality wasn't even, I wouldn't even say it was amazing, the quality, because there was definitely a few things which we could definitely get better at. But even just showing a bit of quality, you can see what that second half was all about, and that all came from, whatever they said at halftime, regrouping, going again. They've obviously said a few hard truths. We came out at the start. Well, we came out just before half time so early. I was like, why is Peterborough taking ages to come out for this half? For the second half. Maybe we just came out super early. So the players were up for it. They just were determined to go on to win the game and improve their performance and go to win the game. But yeah, I'm really happy with how certain players performed. There are 1 or 2 players that I want to see a bit more from, because I think they can do a lot better. But yeah, the goals itself, I'm happy with Andersen. I think, if you look at his time in a Luton shirt, it hasn't been great. Of course, injuries have played a massive part in that. So for him to score a goal, and it was a good goal, he had to fight to get to that ball, because I think he was, he was holding the shirt of the Peterborough player. Well, they're both holding each other's shirt, and he was so determined to get to the ball. And yeah, great header to put us 1-0 up from the corner. I'm glad we've actually scored from a corner, because the set pieces haven't been great since the start of the year. Since the back end of last season. In fact, Saville with the cross into the box. And then the second goal, Naki Wells using his experience, closing, the goalkeeper down. It was a very poor back pass to the goalkeeper, I'll be honest. But you can tell the goalkeeper was just, he was one-footed. He was a right-footed goalkeeper, and the ball was put on his left, so he needed to get the ball onto his right foot. And by the time he did that, Naki Wells closed him down, used his experience. He's such a nippy, really quick striker, Naki Wells, for a 35-year-old, 36. You know, he still has that couple yards of pace about him. Gets there first, wins it, plays it to Clark. Clark does that little bit of movement to fool the defender, taps it in, and, you know, happy days. We go on to win 2-0. And we did pile on the pressure even after we scored that second goal. We could have, you know, get a third. We got the fourth. It was pretty much all us in that second half. But I'm absolutely delighted that we've got the 3 points. Next week in our league game against Bradford will be the toughest test of the season so far. Bradford are a mix of, I say, as a team, defensively they are solid. They are really tough to break down. But also going forward, they do offer a threat. And they also play the exact same system as what we do. So next week would be a test of each player will have a responsibility and has to prove that they can... Well, it'd be a 1v1 battle, basically, across the pitch. Can you outperform the player you are up against, basically? It's going to be my first visit to Bradford. So despite the location not being as glamorous in the country, I am still looking forward to it. I don't think many people say they're looking forward to Bradford away, but I am looking forward to it. Big crowd as well, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what Luton can do. Hopefully we can make it 3 wins in a row and really stamp our authority in this league. But it's quite interesting that 3 of the teams that are, you know, favourites for promotion in Luton, Stockport and Huddersfield have won their opening 2 league games. Stockport have played the harder clubs, I would say, in Bolton at home and also then going to Wycombe away. We've had the easier fixtures in AFC Wimbledon and also Peterborough, and then who's the other one? Huddersfield have had Leyton Orient at home and Reading away. So I think all 3 teams have got wins. I know people will look at Luton's fixtures and go, Luton have to win against those teams, but that's when the expectation is so high, that's when you can easily drop points. That's when players don't necessarily perform up to expectations. So despite, you know, okay, yes, we were expected to win, you still got to go out there and prove it, and that's exactly what we've done so far. But yeah, you can only beat what's in front of you, exactly what Neil has said in the live chat. So let me read a couple of your chats, couple of your questions that you've put in the live chat so far this morning. So Neil, you've put, morning all, hope everyone is doing well. Danny, 2 wins out of 2 and 2 clean sheets, exactly that. I think Josh Keeley's only had about 2 shots to save throughout his whole time in a Luton shirt, which is great. So we are defending as a unit and, you know, being hard to break down. Can't argue with 2 out of 2, exactly. Morning all, great win, good second half display. Walters not up to it, loan him out. I personally wouldn't loan him out because we don't have anyone else to play right wing back. We've got this West Ham Kadoa who can play as cover for right wing back, but we can't loan Walters out. We don't have enough cover. You know, the thing is with Walters, and I'm going to mention this on my video later today in the 5 things which we learnt from the game, and I will go into a bit more detail. Because he's a young player, he's got so much learning to do. He's got to learn on the job. Now, some young players, they either have it or they don't. And at the moment, it's clear to see that Walters doesn't have it. He's got to learn. He's got to get better with coaching, and he's going to get better with more games under his belt. It comes with experience. So I think with Walters, it's got to be a patient game. This is the thing when you sign these up-and-coming young players. It's either they hit the ground running and they excel, or it takes some time and then they excel, or they just don't excel at all and they find their level. So it's a waiting game with Walters, I'm afraid, and he's lacking game experience. I can just tell by the way he's playing. He needs someone to guide him, and Chris Makosso playing as the right-sided centre half is not the right player to guide him, because Chris Makosso is also a young up-and-coming player. So there's lots to learn there, but Walters, he was injured, you know, as Matt Bloomfield pointed out in the post-match interview. Hopefully he doesn't play against Coventry. He doesn't need to play against Coventry. Walters, we can play Kadoa there, give the West Ham lad an opportunity to see what he can do. But yeah, I think overall Walters, he needs help. He needs a bit of guidance. I'm just here to say I'm annoyed that you didn't have to do that stupid dance. If no one knows what this comment means, basically I put out on social media, if Luton scored 5 goals against Peterborough, I would do this stupid dance. And it was basically this Southampton fan. And I've known about this for ages, this Southampton fan. I don't know his name, but my mate's a Saints supporter. And basically this guy, he's probably in his 40s or 50s. He's an absolute nut job. But he dances so weirdly, but it's so funny to watch. And he does this weird like dance routine all the time. Everyone eagers him on to do this dance routine, whether that's outside the stadium or at a party or in the actual stadium itself. I think he sits right at the front at St Mary's, and he's doing this weird like dance like routine. And the TV camera sometimes catches it. And I think if you watch the Southampton versus Wrexham game, the highlights, he actually appeared in the highlight reel, and you can see him trying to do this dance as part of the highlights. Honestly, he's a bold guy as well, a bold fat guy. But honestly, he is really funny. So I said if Luton scored 5 goals, I would do the dance routine, and I think I got lucky. Luton didn't score the 5. I don't think I will be saying that later on in the season. I thought the reason why I put it out was because I just didn't think we would score 5 goals. But then when we got that second, I was like, okay, Luton, don't get too carried away. Neil, you commented saying they may not be looking the most. Basically, Neil was put in the chat, Nigel changed the game in his eyes. Doesn't mean that Walters wasn't good enough. It was just a good substitution. Yes, I think Nigel, for me, really did prove me wrong. I thought he would struggle playing as the wing-back against Peterborough with their quick wingers. But actually, he came on and he absolutely bossed it down on that right-hand side. And not just like defending-wise, attacking-wise as well. He would, running down the wing, putting decent balls in. I think he set up. Who did he set up? He put in this really good ball into the box, but I think the shot was blocked. It was a lovely pass and move play down on the right hand side, and he basically passed it into the box. And I think someone had the first time shot, but it was blocked by the Peterborough player. But honestly, the performance from him was outstanding. And considering he is a centre half, we've not actually seen him play as a centre half himself, have we? We've only seen him play as a left wing back and also as a right wing back. Martin, you've commented saying Luton are back. Joseph, you commented saying where can you watch the Coventry game? It's on Sky Sports, so if you've got the red button, you can have that, or you can watch it on iFollow. Those are the 2 options there. Neil, you've commented saying I'd rather win ugly than not win at all. 100%. LTFC George, morning Lewis, how you doing? I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? Paul, you've commented saying think the sub at half time was the start of something special. It certainly was. Danny, you've put, will you be looking at the championship games? Are you talking about for this stream, or are you talking about just content in general? Morning Mick, how you doing? Danny, you've also commented saying Bradford have former Luton player Josh Newfield. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He plays as the right wing back for Bradford, so we'll be up against him next week. Mason, you've commented saying has to be the first time I've heard Matt Bloomfield's Barmy Army chant at a game. The thing is, Mason, once Matt Bloomfield starts winning games and starts proving that he can do the job and can make good decisions, people will get behind him, and I think we need to start getting behind him because I think he is a good manager. He proved it at some points in the Championship last season. The last 12 games were very good. We picked up the 3rd most points in the league in our last 12 games. It just took a while, and the board knew that. The board knew that when Matt Bloomfield starts at a football club, it takes some time, and if we were going to go down that route, we should have brought we should have brought Matt Bloomfield in like a month or 2 sooner. And then we would have stayed up. I think it would have been quite clear we would have stayed up if Matt came in like a month before. So it's a shame really, but we know we can't keep looking back. Mick, you've put, let's make it 3 wins out of 3 games. Terry, you've commented saying Baptiste and Saville very good in the midfield, very good partnership. Saville getting stuck in yesterday was just what we needed. I actually thought Saville got better in the second half. I thought in the first half he was quite poor, personally. But then in the second half he got better. The impact he had, winning the ball back so often, the passing, the communication, getting into the ref's ear, the dark arts. There was plenty of times throughout that second half where he was in the ref's ear, letting him know that certain football decisions were not good enough. So, amazing second half performance. That's what Saville will bring, and that's the Saville what I want to see every single game. Because against Wimbledon and that first half against Peterborough, I don't think he was up to scratch. And then Baptiste as well, by the way, in the first half, some of the passing which he was doing was unbelievable. The passing ability that he has, he will take risky passes. Like, he will try and break the lines and get the ball in behind and allow our players to break through. He's got the vision, he's got the quality to put those types of balls in. We've just got to give him the ball. Unfortunately, yesterday, there were a few times in the first half we were just doing the safe option rather than actually doing the more challenging pass, the risky pass. You can't always do like the same safe option pass because you won't break a team down. It's very difficult to break a team down with the safe pass all the time. You've got to try something different, and that's what Baptiste does. Neil, you've commented saying Stevenage are the surprise package after 2 games in my eyes. That I had them as well. I said it in my predictions that Stevenage would be the team that I think people need to keep an eye out on this year. They had good defensive foundations last year. And then attack going forward, they just lacked something. A bit like Wigan, it's going to be them and Wigan, in my opinion. Although Wigan did lose against Leyton Orient 2-0 yesterday. And yeah, they needed to improve the attacking aspect. They've done exactly that. And they've scored goals. Reed, I think, is on his 3rd goal of the season already. They got a good away win against Blackpool. As long as they improve their record against the top 6, they have a very good chance at trying to get into those playoff positions. Daniel, you've commented saying people are often too quick to write off young players. Give them a chance so that they can gain valuable experience. We need to use the whole squad. Exactly that. There'll be times as well throughout the season where certain players will come in, certain players will come out. And I'm sure when Isaiah Jones come back, he will play ahead of Walters. But we're going to have to wait quite a while until we see that. Lewis, breaking news. Samson Tuvide came off the bench yesterday for Colchester against Oldham, meaning that he will most likely be staying at Colchester. It's already been pretty much confirmed that we're not going to go back in for him, basically, and he won't be a Luton player. Aidan, hi Lewis, you put, I tell you about my foot off the... Aidan, you've put the first half was very slow. The first half was very slow. In the second half, we were much the better side. G1K2, you've commented saying if Nordas doesn't feature versus Coventry, he must be injured or on his way out, perhaps. Nordas isn't injured. He featured for the under-21s midweek against Leyton Orient, where he did score. I think Matt Bloomfield's just choosing not to put him in the side. I actually think he's going to go, Nordas. It doesn't really... I don't see him just getting in. If Woodrow is getting ahead of him and getting on the bench, so where does he fit? And that's without the likes of Brown, Chong, Elijah Adebayo, Nigel, not Nigel, you got Hakeem Adofin. These players are not even Isaiah Jones. That's 5 players there I've just mentioned that will most likely be in the matchday squad. And he's nowhere, and Nordas still isn't in the matchday squad. Oh, Cohen Bramall as well. So that's 6 players there. It's a big squad we've got. We've got competition all over the pitch. The Southampton fan's name is P Dawson. That probably does sound correct, actually. But yeah, honestly, the guy's dance routine is just on another level. Jelly Belly, you've put Ricky Gervais office dance, Lewis, please. Honestly, I would only do it if Luton do something like special in a game, but we have to wait and see. Danny, you're talking about yesterday's championship games. We can talk about the results from across the Football League in a second. No worries at all. Traveller UK, I just want to let you know, mate, I will get to your comment eventually. As you can tell, I'm going through from top to bottom. Just comment once and then I will answer you eventually, rather than you just put in the same thing multiple times. I will get to you. Phil, morning, how you doing? Neil, you've also put Baptiste looked very good yesterday. Wonder what his passing stats were. Well, we can have a look at his passing stats. So we have a quick look. Let me load up. Got my other laptop with me. So let's have a quick look at Baptiste. Right, here we go. So apparently, according to FootMob, I don't know why, but they thought Baptiste was playing as their left wing back. That's why you should not always listen to FootMob. So Baptiste, he had 85% accurate passes, which was good. So only 6 passes that weren't correct, but 35 was. 85% is quite good. You know, I think if you get over 80, that's quite, I would say, is a good standard worth of passing. Saville had 74, so Saville got a bit better. That would have been, helpful. Clark, what was Clark's passing? Clark only had 55, but Clark was playing in a more advanced role. So yeah, as you can see, Baptiste had the better passing of our midfield. Cal Naismith only had 68%. Anderson had 77%. Makoso was 74%. I wonder what Keeley's was. Keeley had 56%. That's not too bad for a goalkeeper. Naki Wells, he had 83, so Naki Wells' passing was very, very good. Ali, what was his passing? He had 77%, and Jerry Yates had 78%. So I think, Naki Wells and Baptiste, they had the better passing out of the two, out of everyone who played in the starting 11. That's what the passing needs to be like. It needs to be 80% or more. Have a quick look at what Nigel was. Nigel had 69%. Lamine Fanny had 50%. Liam Walsh, when he came on, he had 60%. So it's clear to see that the passing does need to get a bit better. Early stages. Alfie, who was our best player? For me, I would go with Anderson. Mason, you've commented saying Matt knew he had to make changes yesterday, and he did in the second half. It was a great tactical mindset. It's a breath of fresh air that we have a manager that knows when we are not playing well. I do agree. Let me see where I am. Mason, you've also put, I thought Yates did alright for his lack of match fitness. So far, looks like he will have a lot of pace when at 100%. And that is what I do agree with. I think he's just lacking a few games. He's lacking that match sharpness. He got himself about. I thought he did quite well at times. Of course, he needed a bit of help. We weren't exactly playing great in that first half. But in the second half, you definitely saw what Jerry Yates was all about. Causing and harmful quite a bit. G1K2, you've put Wigan were very poor yesterday. I was at their game at Leyton Orient. Yeah, Leyton Orient definitely had a much better performance following their 3-0 defeat to Huddersfield. Danny, you've put, do you think we will sign any more players? I do think we need like a Lokonga. We need a player that's comfortable in receiving the ball in a defensive position and able to play the ball into the midfield, into the attack. We miss something because people keep talking about their lack of creativity. The problem is we're not getting the ball to the right players in the right areas. So even if we sign like this creative player, I don't think that solves the issue. I think the issue is we're not getting the ball to the creative player. We want Clark to be getting on the ball and making stuff happen. We want Baptiste in the attacking areas, but we can't get the ball to those players. So I think we need like a player that's comfortable at receiving the ball in a defensive position and then being able to progress and attack. And that's exactly what Lokonga did for Luton in the Premier League. He managed to receive the ball in a dangerous position, give the ball to Ross Barkley, who did his magic. Lewis, Luton have a €60 million market value, Cardiff at 30, Huddersfield at 20, Bolton at 15. That means absolutely nothing to me in my eyes. It means we should be doing good and we are winning. So, yeah. We looked good yesterday when Nigel Longwick came on. I do agree there, Harvey. Neil, you got bored about hearing how much money Luton have. We will use it when it's necessary. If we spend nothing on signings but still getting quality and Luton characters, that's all that matters, 100%. Traveller UK, you've asked me, what do I think about Ipswich, Colchester, Man City's chances this season? I think Ipswich should be competing for promotion. Colchester, I don't know what to expect from them this year. I don't know if they can outdo what they did last year. Man City should be having a much better season than they did last year. But then again, Liverpool have recruited quite well. So I'm not too sure what Man City and Colchester will do this year. Ipswich should be competing for promotion. Terry, you've put, I think we played 4 at the back, second half. Naismith more left back, Ali left wing. It was still the same formation. It was basically Ali just got pushed further forward. That's all it was. It was like, Ali, right, you just get further forward, and basically we'll take the risk if Peterborough can counter-attack us, Cal Naismith can cover. It was pretty much a back 5 second half. Formation didn't really change apart from Clark being more advanced. I still dream of Ross Barkley to this day. What a player he was for us, though. Unbelievable player. And Neil, you've commented saying, I thought that was why we brought Fanny in as a defensive centre mid. Well, Neil, it's quite strange, really, because Rob Edwards was like, Lewis. Rob Edwards was like, right, we're going to be playing him as a number 10. So he played as a number 10 against QPR. And it looked quite dangerous. And then all the AIK Swedish fans were like commenting saying, what are you doing to Fanny? Why are you playing him as a number 10? He's a defensive midfielder. And then we kind of haven't actually seen him in that role. Because he's got this like burst of energy. He kind of is, he's a bit adaptable. And I agree with you, Neil. I actually think if you play Fanny deeper, so he receives the ball from deep, he can progress it up the pitch with his, with his energy, with his movement, with his passing ability. But it's like we don't want to do that. We think we can get better out of him further forward in a more attacking position. I find it quite strange. I really do. But that's the choice which the coaching staff have gone with. The fact that 2 managers have decided to do that kind of makes me think, actually, is he just better further forward rather than as the defensive midfield? Mason, you commented saying, be nice if we get our 1.1 allocation sold for Bradford. Think it would be closed after yesterday. Yeah, I think we're set out, Mason, if I'm honest with you. Considering we've got back-to-back wins, I think that will motivate people to want to go to the game. I'm driving to the game. I just want to point out as well to all the listeners watching this live stream. So the match reaction for Bradford next week will be out quite late. I don't know what time I'm going to get home from the game against Bradford. I'm going to be driving, so the game finishes, at 5 o'clock? It takes at least, let's say, 3 hours, so that's 8 o'clock. I'm going to be stopping on the way home to get some food out of services, so I'm most likely not going to get home until roughly 9ish, 9:30. Then I make the reaction, so the reaction won't come out until probably when Match of the Day comes out, actually, around like late 10 o'clock, 11 in the evening. So it'd be quite a late one, I'll be honest with you, but I'd rather get you the reaction as soon as possible, and then people can watch it in the morning, and watch it throughout Sunday. So that is the plan for the match reaction for Bradford. Martin, you've commented saying Woodrow has interest and is interested. Martin, you've commented saying Woodrow has interest and it was interesting to see that he was an unused sub. Martin, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think that interest is legit. I think it's just a fake rumour. I cannot see a championship side being interested in Woodrow. I can't see Middlesbrough being interested in Woodrow because Rob Edwards never even used him. So that, for me, doesn't make sense. That for me, just doesn't make sense completely. Oxford being interested in Woodrow, I think they could get better. So I think it was a fake rumour. And yeah, there's a lot of fake rumours that have gone about recently. I think we could win our next couple of games. I also do as well. Squad value means nothing. Yeah, it does mean nothing. All it does is it just says that we've got quite a lot of players that are valued at a high price. If they don't prove that, normally the higher the price, the better the player. But it means nothing if you don't show what your team can do. But Traveller UK, it doesn't show you how strong the team is necessarily, because if a young player is good and has potential, he will be valued a lot higher than some players in the team, and he won't even be the best player on the pitch. So it doesn't always mean that. Daniel, you've commented saying, good win yesterday. I'm worried when we played. Right. Traveller UK, I've already asked you, mate. Please stop repeating yourself in the chat. You're asking the same question. If I'm not bothering to answer it, it's because I just don't want to. Stop repeating yourself in the chat. Daniel, you've put, good win yesterday. I'm worried when we play the big boys, we can't keep relying on set pieces and we need more signings. I don't think we need too many signings. I think we need one more potentially that can solve an issue, and it may be a cover for left wing back. So you're talking a couple, if that. I don't think we need loads. We need to work with the squad we've got. It's a very big squad, and there's no guarantee that any of them are going to go. So we need to work with this squad and find what the right balance is, the right formula that can create chances and can split teams open from open play. But it's still very early stages, and we just got to take it by game. Hopefully after 6 games, when the summer window is done and dusted, we can then work out, we can then see what happens from there. Neil, you've commented saying, I don't know why though, but the way Makoso makes those driving runs through Peterborough yesterday, he could even do a job as a defensive midfielder, which would mean McGuinness could get onto the pitch in defence. I wouldn't want to see Makoso as a defensive midfielder. He doesn't have the passing ability. If your DM needs to have the right passing ability, if he doesn't have it, then you can't. It kind of doesn't. You're just relying on him just to do the defensive bit. Whereas in possession, you need him to be comfortable on the ball. And Makoso, for me, he doesn't fill me with confidence with his passing. Yes, need to stabilise first team regulars and experiment in all those cup games. I think the cup games is when it's the perfect opportunity to show any player that hasn't had an opportunity in the first team yet to show what they can do. So against Coventry, I'm expecting quite a bit of a rotation, if I'm honest. McGuinness, I'm expecting to start. I think Yates will also start. I think if I look at the bench, I think Fane will start. I think Walsh will start. I think Zach Nelson will. I think Nigel Longwick will start. I think Woodrow will start. Shea could potentially start as well. So I think we need basically the squad players to feature and get some minutes. Martin, you've commented saying, I can see Chong and Tenan Menji staying. I can also see those both players staying as well. Oscar, you've commented saying, hey Lewis, great win yesterday. My question is, do you reckon we might need a creative centre half, or as all the centre backs we have are mainly, old school defenders? Keep up the great videos. Thank you, Oscar. We've got too many centre backs. We've got far too many centre halves. So I would say no. For me, Cal Naismith can play out. Mads Andersen can also play out. Chris Makoso, struggling, but we can cope with that. I think McGuinness can play out. He has the ability to do it. Nigel Longwick also has the passing abilities, both fitted as well, to play out. So although they're not the best at playing out, they can do the job. They can do it at a basic level, which is what we need. As long as they can just do it at a basic level, that's fine. But yeah, I feel like we don't need any more centre-halves. We've got far too many. Some of them can't even get into the first team, and we're already going to have a headache soon. Once McGuinness gets back to full fitness, where does he get in? Because if Mads Andersen is performing extremely well, you can't drop Andersen. You really can't. Neil, you've commented saying Holmes will be going soon. I hope. He's someone that I'm expecting to go. If I'm honest. Jenny Belly 27, you've put lucky to have played two of the weaker teams to start. Help us to build the right team, find the right players. Today's discussion could have been very different had we started against Huddersfield / Stockport. Yeah, it would have been, but you know you can only judge the game when you see it and judge it on the opponent who we play against. So Wimbledon are going to be tough. Wimbledon will make it so tough for Huddersfield and also Stockport as well. They'll put 11 players behind the ball and make it difficult. Peterborough, I don't know what to expect from them. They were the worst Peterborough team I've seen in years. Just didn't offer really much going forward at all. Daniel, you've put good goal from Morris yesterday and Alfie doing what he does. Alfie's ball, I watched that and the highlights from the Millwall versus Norwich game. Millwall won 2-1 away from home. And the ball for the second goal was outstanding from Alfie. Really good goal. He's playing in that more advanced left winger spot. And then, yeah, it was a good goal from Carlton Morris. But Derby did lose in the end, 3-1 against Stoke. And Thomas Kaminski nearly gave away a penalty. Well, it should have been a penalty against Watford. He's done that twice now when he comes off his line and he doesn't know what to do against a Watford player. But Charlton, they managed to win 1-0. They scored in the 94th minute and Nathan Jones went absolutely mental towards the Watford fans. So good old Nathan there. LTFC Louis, you've commented saying, I thought Nigel was brilliant at right wing back second half yesterday. I thought he was as well. Charlie, you've commented saying, if Makosso doesn't play, we have no legs in the back three. But then again, it depends who you're playing against, Charlie, I would say. Because if you're playing against a team where they're not going to offer too much in terms of going forward. So like Bradford, for example, this is actually the perfect example, actually. So next week, we're playing against a Bradford side that don't really have too much pace in terms of how they attack. Their pace comes from their wing-backs. So essentially, it's going to be wing-back versus wing-back. So our wing-back versus their wing-back. In terms of their strikers are not exactly quick. So you can cope with that. I think against more of the physical sides, you can deal with having like 3 slow centre-halves, essentially. So I think you can get away with it in some games, but in some games you can't. So in this Peterborough game, I don't think we could have got away with it. But against a team like Bradford, I think you can get away with it. Hopefully that makes sense. Are Luton still trying to sign Cameron Humphreys because Ipswich won't want to sell him? I don't think the rumour was true, if I'm being honest with you. Philip, you've commented saying we need a Luke Guttridge type player to knit the midfield to forwards. I can't see why Clark or Baptiste can't do that. Desperate for a right wing back. I think Clark can do what that Luke Guttridge type of role, if I'm honest with you, Philip. I actually think Clark will do that role. I think the issue is, I don't know if you heard me say it, is I think we need a midfielder that can take the ball from defence to attack. No, from defence to the midfield. So a bit like what Lokonga did for us in the Premier League season, where the defenders were able to give him the ball, he was able to give it to Barkley, and that's how we progressed up the pitch. I think we need that type of player within the team, because if we sign this creative midfielder player, he ain't going to get the ball because we're struggling to get the ball to the creative players in the first place. Like for Baptiste, for example, we struggled to give him the ball. And when he did have the ball, some of the passing which we saw from him was outstanding. So that's what I think we're struggling with. We're struggling with getting him to the ball. So if we can figure that bit out, I think we'll be okay. Neil, you've commented saying, I really don't see us signing any other players, to be honest, only if we get rid of a few. I think we are looking from the sounds of things, they want one more. They want another player in attack, by the sounds of it. That's why we've seen reported bids from Colchester and Gillingham. But yeah, I think we're going to get one more at least before the window closes. G1K2, you commented saying, yes, watching the Charlton versus Watford highlights made me feel that we have a better keeper in Keeley than Thomas Kaminski. I think we do. I think we've upgraded. Keeley's passing ability is amazing. He controls his 6-yard box. He communicates. I just love the kicking. The kicking ability is brilliant. And at the moment, he's been absolutely solid. I can't complain. Of course, he's going to make a mistake. He's young. But honestly, he's going to go on to have a really good career. Charlton are basically Luton off the pass. Really pleased for Anderson. I am as well. Southampton scored 2 goals in the 90th minute to beat Wrexham. They did score a fantastic free kick. Neil, you've commented saying, okay, we scrapped a win against Wimbledon, but they got a win yesterday. So it was a good 3 points against a team that just wanted to nullify the Luton's attack. Yes, it was. LTFC, Louis, you put deadline day loan deal would definitely happen. I can definitely see something happening before the transfer window does end. Who did Colchester want to sign from Luton, and Luton fans want a replacement for Walters? I don't know who Colchester wanted to sign from Luton. Oscar, you commented saying, my dad keeps saying Jerry Yates reminds him of James Collins. What are your thoughts? Jerry Yates, I think, is a Danny Hilton. I think he's a more... He will have the dark arts more than a James Collins type. So I think more Danny Hilton personally, Jerry Yates. And Ryan, you've put, I feel like we have to stop this weird goal kick routine. Got a player to pass it to Keeley, who then just boots it out or short passes. I think that's what they're trying something, Ryan. I don't know what it is. This is modern day football, unfortunately. They just do weird stuff. I don't get it. I think it's to draw a player in. There must be some weird thing why they do it. But I personally don't get it. I'd rather they stop the 2 people out of corner routine, because I don't see that working, and it hasn't worked. I don't know what we're trying from set pieces. So I'd rather we sort that bit out before focusing on other factors. But yeah, I don't personally get it. It does slow the game down a little bit, especially like it did in the first half. But yeah, it's a bit strange. But anyway, shall I go through the League One results from game week 2? So if you didn't know, Port Vale managed to get a really good draw actually against a Cardiff City team at home. That was 0-0. Port Vale, in my opinion, actually deserved to win the game. They actually had a goal ruled out, which was onside. The linesman gave it as an offside decision. Huddersfield, as we already know, won 2-0 against Reading. 2 set pieces from them. Good goals. Frustrating that Huddersfield have started the season off well. I thought they'll start the year slowly, but they're not. The new players have settled in quite well, and yeah, they look very strong, starting as they mean to go on. Wimbledon managed to take advantage of Lincoln going down to 10 men. They picked up a 2-0 win, showing some firepower up top. Lincoln, definitely not a good day at the office. They had a period of spell in the first half where they actually were on top, but then they got sent off when they were having that really good positive momentum. Wimbledon scored just before half time, and then they scored a goal late on. They scored for a penalty, in fact, actually, AFC Wimbledon, and the person who gave away that penalty was Sonny Bradley, former Luton Town defender. We had plenty of goals in the Barnsley versus Burton game. Barnsley won 3-2. They managed to come back from 2-0 down. First half was not a good performance from Barnsley, but then they came back in the second, got that early goal, which would help after 15 minutes, then scored again, and then the veteran McGoldrick, wow, great goal from him to score in the last pretty much minute, 93rd minute of the game, to help Barnsley win the match 3-2. Bolton got a really good 2-0 win at home against Plymouth. Guess which former Luton player started in this game? It was Pebble. He played 62 minutes, but Bolton were outstanding against Plymouth. throughout the whole game. Like, I'm just looking at the stats now and looking at the momentum which Bolton had throughout the period of game. Well, throughout the whole 90 minutes, and yeah, Bolton were just dominant from start to finish. Outstanding performance. They managed to get 13 shots at goal, created 3 big chances. They scored 2 goals out of the 3 big chances. Plymouth only had 3 shots all game. Really poor performance. And, I do feel sorry for the Plymouth fans, because they do travel, quite, a long way. And to see their side not really put in a good performance, it would hurt a bit. They did dominate possession, but that doesn't matter what you do with possession. But anyway, talking about Plymouth and their rivals, Exeter won 4-1 at home against Blackpool. Blackpool had a really bad day at the office. I did not. This was the result I was not expecting. Exeter to score 4 goals. Blackpool last year, the reason why they didn't get into those playoff positions was because of their defence, and they're showing again that the defence is just not good enough. 4 goals they conceded. They play a 4-4-2 formation. I think there was a poor goalkeeper mistake as well. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with this Blackpool team. The way they've started the season off, it's not been good enough. Then Leyton Orient got a 2-0 home win against Wigan. Wigan definitely didn't perform well at all in this game. Leyton Orient managed to get a goal through an own goal through Sessegnon, and then Karoma in the second half scored for them. Good 2-0 win, good bounce back following their defeat against Huddersfield. Doncaster left it very late to beat Mansfield 2-1. In fact, they scored 2 goals in the last 15 minutes. I think on the balance of play, Doncaster definitely deserved the win. They did control the ball a lot more, created more chances. Mansfield have not started the season off that well, losing against Burton on the opening day and then losing at home. Northampton versus Bradford, that ended up being a 0-0 draw. Bradford had some moments in the game. They probably should have scored. They did have lots of attempts. They had 14 shots at goal, had an XG of 1.16. Northampton, yet again, I worry about them going forward. I just don't know what to expect. They've got, they can defend Northampton, but they can't score goals. So I don't know where the goals are going to come from. But unfortunately for Northampton, they've only picked up 1 point in their first 2 games. Bradford have got 4 points in their opening first 2 matches. Stevenage, as we've already spoken about in this live stream, won 1-0. Reed scored his 3rd goal of the year. And to be fair, if you look on the balance of the game, they definitely deserved it. Controlled, had positive momentum throughout. Created more chances than Rotherham. I think they deserve to win. And then the last game, which was Wycombe versus Stockport. Stockport didn't have the best of second halves. It was pretty much all Wycombe, but that was to be expected after going 2-0 down after 52 minutes. Stockport scored quite early in the second half, so it then basically meant that Wycombe were going to control that second half after going 2-0 down. Stockport were the better side in the first half, scoring a good goal through Wootton, but then their second goal, which was done by Jack Diamond, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Really good goal. But Wycombe, they had a penalty, missed a penalty, but with them, they've signed so many new players. They're just not gelling. They really ain't gelling at all, and it's going to take some time for them to start clicking in front of goal. But again, that's 2 defeats in 2 games. Stockport win 2 wins in 2. So those are the results from game week 2. The league, I don't really want to talk about the league table because it's far too early. But look, if you do care, Luton, we're 4th. We're joint top. We've got +3 goal difference. I think we're 5 points off those relegation places, and that's what matters the most. Well, actually, no. Yeah. No, we're 6 points off the relegation places, in fact. So, happy days. Great start. I did miss a couple of your messages while I was reading those game week 2 results out. Neil, you've put, and the 2 clean sheets after last season, it shows that the defence has trust in their keeper. It really does. Mick, you've commented saying we need to get back to being deadly from set pieces. We do. Neil, you put, let's also talk about your fantasy football league, Lewis. Look, it's early stages, Neil. I'm sure, once I start seeing what I really need to see, I'll start making the right decisions. Basically, what I'm doing is, Neil, I'm giving you all a head start. So you can have the head start, and then I'll just catch up. Maybe that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what you don't really know. That's why I'm making the poor, fantasy football decisions. To be fair, 1 or 2 did let me down this week. But I got some points. I think I got above average, in this week's fantasy. Actually, let me just quickly get it up. I think I got above average, which is what you need to do. If you keep getting above average, you be in the top bit. Yeah, I got above average. Happy days. But what let me down was my captain. And also, for the second week running, one of my players didn't play. So imagine if I actually had players that actually played. I don't know why Aaron Morley didn't play for Bolton, considering he played in the first game. And if he did play, he most likely would have done something. Was he on the bench? Let me have a quick look. Yeah, he was on the bench. Aaron Morley. Frustrating. Do you think we can get rid of Nakamba and Tedamenji? I don't rate Chong either. I think Nakamba might... I think that's the one that should be going. I don't think Tedamenji will go. And I don't think Chong will go either. Do I think we can continue the winning form? Yes, I do. Who's the worst and best Luton player you've seen? For me, for the worst is Hashi. Trust me. If you think Hashi's worse, you should have seen some of the players we had in non-league. Hashi's... We've had a lot worse than Hashi. And, yeah, the best is either James Justin or Ross Barkley. Yeah, I don't think Hashi's the worst, I'll be honest with you. You've got... Ryan Tunnicliffe is probably the worst midfielder I've seen play for Luton. Absolutely awful player. Don't get what he brought to the team. Absolutely awful. Paul Connolly, who played as a right back, was so awful. Stuart Moore, the goalkeeper, he wasn't great at all. There's a few other... Jake Jervis wasn't exactly brilliant. It's hard to think on top of my head. I have to go through the squads, but there are some bad players. I think Luke Rooney, he was dreadful. He was another one. Yeah, we've had some bad ones throughout my time watching Luton. Ryan, you've commented saying, I feel bad for Plymouth. That's a team that have been relegated, stripped of their players and recruited poorly. Yeah, their recruitment hasn't been great, I'll be honest with you. Steve, you commented saying, Neil, I 100% agree with you, mate. Hashi was just played out of position, to be fair. I reckon Hashi would have done all right at this level. He did play as a centre-half half the time, and he wasn't a centre-half. He's a right wing-back. And if you look at what he's doing, he's playing for Slavia Prague. So he's obviously got something about him. He isn't at an average club, and he's playing in the Champions League. I think he scored recently as well. What is he doing? Has he been playing regularly? Let's have a quick look. Right, he's played 3 matches. Oh, he's been more of a sub, actually. Yeah, he's played 3 games, and that's pretty much it. He played 21 minutes yesterday in there. Did they win 3-0? They won 3-0. Lewis, Pelly Roddick went from non-league to Premier League, and now he's with Cambridge in League 2. He's going up and down the pyramid. That's the life of a professional footballer. Steve, you put Hashi has the best agent ever. Listening to you rattling off those names, I should have used my brain. Yeah, we've had some terrible players in the past. And I bet you some of the older fans in the chat could mention a few players that played in the early 2000s that were even bad. And also in the 80s and 90s as well. But then again, the 80s, we were quite good in those years. So maybe in the 90s. Neil, I even put Chong in the worst player I've seen at Luton. The amount of game time he has had, what the hell has he ever done for Luton except the goal against Liverpool? Unfortunately, Chong is going into that category unless he does something this year. So yeah, we definitely need to see a reaction from him or a good performance. Regular, consistent performances as well. I don't think Woodrow's done exactly well for us in a Luton shirt. Nakamba, since we signed him permanently, hasn't done well. Although the loan spell that was when we saw the good side of him. Trying to think, Simeon Sluga wasn't exactly a great keeper, but got better as he, played more games for us. Ryan, you put Hashi is recovering from health issues at the moment. He scored in his first game for them. I think it was in pre-season. Oh, very nice. I didn't realise he had any health issues. Wish him all the best. Neil, you like to call Chong Rich T. Chong. He needs to just prove that he can do it. He really does. He needs to just prove that, right, he can get goals, he can get assists and do everything he needs to do. Steve, you put last players I ever saw play live would have been in 2001 before I moved to Australia. I think the best player I ever saw live was JLV. Very good player. I know him very well. Hashi went from from Championship to Champions League player in 1 year. Who was gone? Who was... Are you trying to ask me who my player of the match was yesterday? Because if you are, then I would say it's Mads Andersen. Yeah, for me it's Mads Andersen. I forgot today, there's a couple of live football matches. Now we're getting close to the Premier League. Now we're getting to... close to the Premier League season starting. At 3 o'clock, we have Community Shield action between Crystal Palace versus Liverpool live at Wembley. I reckon Liverpool will win that one. And then at 4:30, after the Community Shield, we have Leicester versus Sheffield Wednesday. And that game is the game which I think we are going to see lots of goals. Because if you didn't know, Sheffield Wednesday only have 12 professional players playing for them. Mads Andersen has played twice this season and both times got man of the match. He's done well. He started the season off very well, and at this moment in time, you cannot drop him. But anyway, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I will end today's live stream. It's been very active, so thank you very much. If you haven't done already, please smash the like button on the live stream. It helps the stream perform better once I post the full stream out to YouTube. So please smash that like button for me. It does help. I'm going to be watching the Crystal Palace versus Liverpool game at 3 o'clock. I'm also going to be watching the Leicester game v Sheffield Wednesday at 4:30. Let me know your score predictions in the chat as well. I'm going to go with, not Palace to win, Liverpool to win. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. I'm going to change it 3-0 to Liverpool. 3-0 to Liverpool. And then I think Leicester are going to win 4-0. I can't see Wednesday doing anything. It could be even worse, if I'm being honest with you, than that. But yeah, I'm going to be watching those two games. After this stream, I'm going to be heading to the gym, get my session in. I had my local takeaway fried chicken wrap meal, so I need to burn that off at the gym today. Do a little run and a weight session, so I'm doing that once this stream has ended. And yeah, watching football, I need to make my video, which will go out today. 5 things which we learned from the game against Peterborough. So that'll be out later this evening. And then match preview for tomorrow for the Coventry game. And then Tuesday, match reaction. 5 things which we learned from the game against Coventry will be out on Wednesday. Thursday would be game week 3 score predictions in League One. Friday will be a match preview of the Bradford game. Saturday would be Luton versus Bradford match reaction. Sunday would be another live stream with 5 things which we learned from the game against Bradford. And then Monday, match preview of the Wigan game. Tuesday, match reaction of the Wigan game. Wednesday, 5 things which we learned from the Wigan game. Thursday, game week 4. No, actually, I've mucked myself about there, actually. On Monday, I'll be producing 2 videos. I'm going to be doing game week score 4 predictions and also a match preview. And then after the Wigan game, game week 5 score predictions. So much content I am producing, it's ridiculous. Football season's back, as you can tell, which means lots more content to talk about. And then once we get a week off or international break comes about, I'll start talking about other things as well. Teams that have surprised us and so on. Neil, you've put, Lewis, did you ever see JLV play? No, I didn't. I only saw highlights. I was a bit too young to fully appreciate the quality he had, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, Didn't really get to see him play. I think I did see him play live because my mum took me to games when I was like 2 years old. But honestly, I couldn't tell you half the players we saw. Alfie, you put League One don't have international breaks. Yes, they do, because some teams have too many international call-ups. So that means some teams won't be playing during international break. So we might have that. Now, we are meant to be playing Blackpool in our first international break. I don't know what's going to happen there. I really don't. So that game could be called off. That game could be moved to a midweek. But I'll be going to Blackpool regardless, because I used to live near Blackpool for 3 years. So I'll be going to that game. We've got Liverpool 2-0, Leicester 4-0, 4-1 to Liverpool, 5-0 to Leicester. Daniel, you put, can we talk about Morecambe? Sad to see what's happening. It's a complete joke. The FA and the National League and the EFL, they've allowed this to happen. They've allowed someone to run a football club who's not fit and proper, which is what they have these fit and proper tests put into place to stop people like the current people running Morecambe, who are not fit to run a football club, allow control, and just kill a football club. A club that's got over 100 years worth of history is going to die because of idiots, and the people who are meant to be looking after the game, the government and everything else, are just allowed someone to destroy a football club. It's absolutely disgusting, and this is why I will always put the argument in. Every football club in this country should be 51% fan-owned, like it is in Germany. I think that's what the Germany do. I think it's either 49% or 51%. They own like pretty much 50% of the football club. That's what it needs to be. Because if the fans own the football club, they will look after the football club. Even if, say for example, the club, has a couple of relegations and financially it gets impacted, but at least the fans can recover from that because they still own half the football club and they can sort it from that perspective and regain control. It's ridiculous that they've allowed this to happen. And for Morecambe, for Sheffield Wednesday as well, Sheffield Wednesday are a massive football club. So big. They're the biggest club in their city. They're bigger than Sheffield United, in my opinion. And they're getting destroyed. Like, players not getting played. And it's not just the players, it's the staff as well. Like, people who actually have to pay a mortgage and pay bills, they're not getting paid anymore. It's so upsetting to see. And yeah, Morecambe, it's not looking good. Hopefully someone can come in and sort it out, but I think it's going to be too late. It's sad to see. It really is. The great games you've commented saying 2-1 to Liverpool, Leicester to win 5-0. Steve, you put, keep up the great work, Lewis. You've got a fan base over here in Australia already. Thank you so much, Steve. Smash that like button, Jelly Betty 27 has said. Yes, please smash the like button. Where am I? Do you think Thomas Kaminski had a better time at Luton than Simeon Sluga? Yeah, I think he did on the balance of things because he was a good shot stopper. Mick, you've put keep all the content coming, Lewis. Thank you very much. Blakey, you've put afternoon, Lewis. Steve Davis was an outstanding player. He definitely was. I remember, I don't remember, but I've heard good things about Steve Davis. Palace to win 2-1 by Luton lads. Spot on. What a joke what's happening with Morecambe. Asgard has a knock and didn't even play a single minute for Norway a few weeks ago. Yeah, Asgard's been out injured and Rangers haven't started off the Scottish Premiership too well with 2 draws. Neil, you put too late for that now, Lewis. I'm afraid too many foreign owners using football clubs as an ego trip, 100%. Lewis, who has a better team, Wednesday or Luton? Luton right now. Sheffield Wednesday are in the same position and the exact same thing might happen to Preston North End in a couple of years. I don't think it will happen to Preston North End. Preston North End are well looked after as a football club financially, so that won't happen to Preston. It just be Sheffield Wednesday. But I think this is the perfect time to end today's live stream. I just want to say, everyone, big thank you for tuning in and let me know your thoughts and stuff in the chat. Keeping the chat active, it makes these live streams so much better. So much appreciated. Video out later today, as I've already mentioned. So have a great Sunday. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the sun. I think it's nice and sunny outside. I haven't really popped my head out in the last hour. It was nice when I went for my walk this morning and went to the shops. So yeah, big thank you for everyone who watched today. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.